The first thing you'd notice about the house on Wisteria Lane wasn't the garden or the white picket fence. It was the silence. It was the kind of silence that wrapped itself around you like an old shawl, not warm, but heavy, stifling. You could almost hear your own thoughts echo inside your skull. The kind of silence that made you think you were being watched even when you weren't. Or worse, when you were. I had lived there for almost a year. Me, Danielle, 22, lost. Trying to piece together some version of adulthood after college had chewed me up and spit me out. Dad said it was just a rough patch. But he wasn't around long enough to see what came next. After his accident last spring, I moved back in, but it wasn't just his house anymore. It was hers. Melinda, my stepmother. Regal, controlled, icy. The kind of woman who wore her perfume like armor and gave you compliments that always felt like commands. I hadn't known her well before Dad died. He married her in a rush, a sleek wedding in Palm Springs that I wasn't even invited to. Just a few Instagram posts and suddenly, she was his wife. And a month later, my stepmother. And when he was gone, she was the only family left. She told me I could stay, as long as I followed her rules. I remember that word specifically. Not house rules. Just her rules. And I agreed. I didn't have a job, didn't have a home. I just needed a place to stay until I figured things out. That's what I told myself. What I didn't realize was how quickly that house would become less of a refuge and more of a cage. Her rules weren't unreasonable. Not at first. No guests without permission. Keep your area clean. No alcohol in the house. Curfew at 9 p.m. I was 22, not 16, but I nodded. After all, I was getting a free room and meals. She kept the kitchen spotless and always had something simmering on the stove, gourmet-level meals. I felt guilty, even touching. She never smiled exactly, but she did something with her lips that looked like approval when I said thank you. But then she added a new rule. You'll wear what I approve. I blinked. Excuse me? Melinda poured her tea. The porcelain cup didn't clink against the saucer. Nothing she did ever made unnecessary noise. I don't want a grown man slumping around the house in wrinkled shirts and yesterday's jeans. It's disrespectful. Presentation reflects mindset. I wanted to argue. I really did. But the truth was, I had stopped caring. My shirts were wrinkled. I'd worn the same hoodie for 3 days. And when you don't have a job or a life, sometimes a dress code feels like a small thing. So I let her choose. At first, it was subtle. Crisp button-ups, slim khakis, sweaters that hugged the body in a way I wasn't used to, clothes with texture, velvet, silk blends, things my dad never would have touched. You'll look tidy, she said. You'll stand straighter, she said. And I did. There was something strange about it. Like I was watching myself become someone else. Standing in the mirror, hands unsure of where to rest, shirt cuffs too perfect to roll up. Then one morning, a week later, she said, "Try these." She held out a pair of slacks that were unmistakably not for men. They were tailored, slim around the waist, flared below the knee. The button fastened on the wrong side. I hesitated. "I think these are." "They're yours now," she said, placing them in my arms. I didn't move. "Unless you want to go back to your old self. That miserable, defeated thing." I didn't know what to say. Her eyes never blinked. And somehow I tried them on. There's a strange kind of quiet that fills a room when you're standing in women's clothing for the first time, not for a joke, not for a dare, but because someone looked you in the eye and told you it was time. I looked at myself. Not in shame. Not quite. There was confusion, of course. Heat rising in my face. But also something else. A pull. A whisper. The slacks fit in a way I never expected. A little too tight at the hips, a little too long in the leg, but they made my frame look clean. Deliberate. Elegant even. Melinda stood behind me in the mirror. "You see it, don't you?" I nodded. Slowly. That night, I called Emma my girlfriend. Or at least she had been. It had been months since we'd seen each other. Since Dad's funeral, I had pulled away. Maybe because I didn't want her to see the version of me that didn't have it all together. Maybe because I didn't know who I was becoming. She still messaged me sometimes. I didn't always reply. But that night, with Melinda's slacks still folded neatly on the chair beside my bed, I messaged her. "Miss you." She replied instantly. "Can we talk?" And suddenly, the two worlds, the one where I used to be Daniel, Emma's boyfriend, and the one where Melinda controlled my reflections, started colliding. And I wasn't sure which one scared me more. The day she brought home the blouse, I had already started calling her ma'am in my head. Not out loud. Not yet. But the word lingered every time she gave me a new piece of clothing, a new posture to maintain, a new reminder to tuck in or stand tall. The blouse was cream-colored, soft satin, fitted at the waist, with delicate pearl buttons. She placed it on my bed like a challenge. "There's a way to wear it. I'll show you."
She didn't ask.
She simply waited. I stood in front of the mirror, shirtless, skin pale under the bedroom light. And she buttoned each pearl slowly, almost reverently, as if sealing something inside me. Or unlocking something. I couldn't tell which. "Better," she said, running her hand over my shoulder. "You're finally beginning to reflect who you really are." Heels came next. Black. Modest. 2 inches. Just enough to shift my posture. "You need to learn balance," Melinda said. "Not just physically, emotionally." I tried to walk across the hardwood floor. I wobbled. She crossed her arms, then made me do it again. And again. Until my steps didn't just stabilize, they became deliberate. Every correction was followed by a nod, a half-smile.
"A reward."
"You're starting to glide," she whispered. "Grace becomes you." But I wasn't ready to look her in the eye. Not yet. I didn't know if I was more ashamed of how it felt, or how much I liked it. "Emma, I'll be in town next week.
"Can we meet?"
I stared at the message for a full minute before my fingers moved. "Me? I don't know if that's a good idea." "Emma, please.
Just talk."
That's all I want." I looked down. My nails were polished. Subtle, but definitely not male-coded. My legs were smooth, another of Melinda's requirements for refinement. My posture had changed without me even noticing. What would Emma say if she saw me now? And more terrifying, what if I wanted her to see? One afternoon, Melinda left the house. It was rare. She almost never did. "You're responsible while I'm gone," she said, her tone like porcelain, beautiful, breakable and cold. The moment the door closed, I sat in silence. Then I stood,
Walked to the bedroom.
and opened the drawer. Inside, lipstick,
Wig.
a bra and matching panties, black lace. I stared. I hesitated. And I put them on. The moment I saw myself, something cracked. I looked right.
Too right.
I walked slowly to the mirror, heart pounding, the wig slipping slightly. The bra didn't quite fit, but it didn't matter. I felt whole. Incomplete, but closer than I'd ever been. I turned. Practiced poses. Imagined names. Then I heard a knock at the door. My stomach dropped. I wasn't expecting anyone. I froze. The knock came again. Harder this time. I rushed to the bedroom, tugging at the bra, fumbling with the clasp. The wig fell to the floor. My hand hit the mirror. Lipstick smudged across my cheek. Another knock. I slid out of the heels. My foot hit the edge of the dresser. I yelped. Silence. Then a voice.
"Emma."
"Daniel? Are you home?" I couldn't breathe. I was in the neighborhood. Emma said as I cracked the door, hair damp from a panic shower, sweater clinging to my chest from nerves. She stepped inside. Her eyes scanned me. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded.
She didn't believe me.
Melinda came back that night. She asked what I did while she was gone. I hesitated. She knew. "You opened the drawer, didn't you?" I nodded. To my surprise, she didn't get angry. She smiled. A real smile. "You're learning honesty. That's good." Then she handed me a new rule. "You'll now dress for dinner. In full. Every night." She placed a name tag on the tablecloth. Danielle. Dinner was silent. The clink of silverware. The brush of lipstick against a wine glass. The new name sat between us like a candle flame. Flickering. Dangerous. I asked her, finally, "Why are you doing this to me?" She looked up. "I'm not doing anything to you," she said. I'm helping you become what you've always been too afraid to be. The worst part? I believed her. The alarm buzzed at 7 a.m. sharp. No snooze. No delay. I opened my eyes to the dim light filtering through the pastel pink curtains. Melinda had changed the color scheme of my room days ago. She said the dark navy and gray tones no longer matched the energy of the person living here. And maybe she was right. I swung my legs out of bed. The sensation of smooth skin brushing against satin sheets was still foreign, still jarring. Every morning reminded me of the night she had shaved my legs herself, murmuring about starting fresh. By 7:15, I was in the shower. Melinda had placed a new shelf of products in the bathroom: exfoliatants, softening creams, rose-scented body wash. I wasn't allowed to use my old shampoo. She called it blunt and boring like Danielle. Now, everything smelled of orchids and something subtle but floral, like a secret only women whispered. By 7:45, I stood in front of the mirror, a towel wrapped around my chest the way she taught me. Lotions and creams lined up like soldiers awaiting orders. She entered the room without knocking. "Moisturize counterclockwise," she said, demonstrating with the back of my hand. "You're not scrubbing a car. You're nourishing a surface." I obeyed.
I always obeyed now.
By 8 o'clock, I was lacing myself into a waist cincher, then the breast forms, then the padded panties. The soft cotton bra clipped with ease, as if my fingers had been doing this for years. At 8:30, Melinda set down the makeup kit. Foundation, then blush. "Your undertone is neutral, so nothing too yellow." I focused, concentrated. By 9 a.m., Danielle sat at the breakfast table, sipping green tea and reading a women's lifestyle magazine while Melinda reviewed her emails. "Better," she said without looking up. "You're starting to move without being told." I didn't reply. But deep inside me, I felt it too. I was becoming automatic. It was pink, leather-bound, locked with a tiny golden clasp. She handed it to me after dinner. "You need to start documenting your transition." I blinked. Transition? Her eyes sparkled. "Not medically. Emotionally. Mentally. Spiritually. Danielle is blooming and she deserves to be remembered." I left it on my nightstand for 2 days. Then, one evening, after a particularly long makeup session, I cracked it open and stared at the blank page. My fingers hovered, and then they moved. Entry 1. I don't know who I am anymore. But I also don't know if I hate this. Entry 2. Melinda corrected my posture today. Again. I hated it, but when I stood straighter, I felt prettier. I think that scared me more than her scolding did. Entry 3. Wearing panties feels less like a punishment and more like a routine now. Is that wrong? I didn't notice her reading it until the 4th day. I'd left it slightly open by mistake, and she sat on the edge of my bed, flipping pages slowly. My heart dropped. But she didn't scold me, didn't mock. Instead, she said softly, "Danielle is starting to speak." That night, I wrote 2 more pages. The sun was just beginning to dip below the horizon when Melinda handed me a soft, pastel-colored hoodie and a pair of leggings. "Put them on. We're going for a walk." My stomach turned. "Outside?" She raised a brow. "You're fully dressed. No one will know. And it's time." 10 minutes later, I stood in front of the mirror. Wig brushed. Subtle makeup. Leggings clinging to my reshaped hips. Sports bra pushing the forms just right. A small purse hung over my shoulder. I looked real. Too real. The air outside was crisp. Every sound felt louder, every footstep amplified. My heels clicked against the pavement like a metronome marking my fear. But something stirred beneath the panic. A pulse of adrenaline, of liberation. "Head up," she whispered. "Smile like you belong." I tried. And for the first time, I felt the breeze beneath my skirt and didn't flinch. I took another step. And another. The fear didn't vanish, but I was walking through it. I stood in front of the mirror, brushing my wig, when I heard it again. Emma's voice. Not in the hallway. Not through a phone. Just inside me. "This isn't you, Dan. You said you hated makeup. Are you doing this because you want to?" I paused, Brush frozen mid-stroke.
Was I?
The eyeliner I wore was navy now. Melinda said it brought out the blue in my eyes. The dress I had on wasn't tight, but it swayed when I walked, feminine and soft. Even my posture had shifted. You looked happier in jeans. You used to make fun of my skincare routine. Remember? Yes. I remembered. But that person Danielle felt like a character I used to play. Or maybe still was. That night, I lay in bed wearing a silky nightgown. The fabric clung to my body in places I wasn't used to. A pink sleep mask rested on my forehead.
I held my phone above me.
No messages from Emma. Just one old photo in my gallery, me, wearing a hoodie, arms around her shoulders. Her smile was wide. Mine was forced. Melinda laid it on the bed like a sacred offering. Black lace. Delicate. Barely enough fabric to qualify as underwear. I froze in the doorway. No, I said. She didn't answer, just tilted her head. Curious. I'm already wearing panties. This is too far. She stepped closer, voice low. You've worn bras.
Wigs.
You contour your cheeks every morning and smooth lotion onto your thighs like a woman preparing for a date. What's one more step? I wanted to argue. I really did. But the truth was, I'd been expecting this. Even in some warped way, waiting for it. I stepped into the room. Picked it up. The fabric was featherlight, impossibly soft. I turned my back, dropped my plain cotton panties, and slid the thong on. It fit like it belonged there. When I faced her again, I expected triumph in her eyes. Instead, she looked almost proud. And that scared me more than anything. The knock on the front door came at 11:42 a.m. I was in the kitchen wearing a robe, breast form still in, lips freshly glossed. I froze. Melinda walked calmly to the door and opened it. And there she was.
Emma.
My Emma. Wearing a black coat, hair pulled up in a no-nonsense bun. Her expression confused, tight with worry. I ducked behind the corner, heart slamming in my chest. Is Danielle home? She asked. Melinda smiled. Too smoothly. I'm afraid Danielle is resting. Emma blinked. Danielle? She prefers that now. I need to see him. Now. She's not ready for visitors. Footsteps. Wait. I stepped out before I could stop myself. Robe cinched tight. Lipstick smudged. Wig slightly askew. Our eyes met. She gasped. Dan? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. She turned and left without a word.
The door slammed.
I stood frozen in the hallway, still tasting the gloss on my lips, still feeling the imprint of Emma's shocked gaze on my skin. I turned slowly to Melinda. You told her, I said. You planned this. She didn't deny it. I invited her, she said coolly. She deserved to see what her boyfriend had become. Why would you do that? Her eyes narrowed. Because, Danielle, I wanted to see your reaction. And you didn't run after her. You didn't scream or hide. I was in shock. No, she interrupted. You were still. You were composed. And deep down, you didn't want to go back to her. Not like that. Not as Danielle. I opened my mouth to defend, to argue, but her words pierced me too sharply. She placed a hand on my shoulder. You didn't ask, how do I fix this? You asked why I did it. That tells me everything I need to know. That night, I lay in bed, Emma's voice swirling in my head again. Dan, what are you doing? Is this who you are now? And for the first time, I asked myself the same question. The next morning, Melinda handed me a sealed envelope and a fresh makeup kit. What's this? I asked. A challenge. A chance to prove how far you've come. I opened the envelope. Inside was a list. Your assignment. 1. Full face makeup unaided. 2. Casual day look. Foundation, brows, mascara, blush, gloss. 3. Outfit coordination. 4. Wig styling. 5. Confidence check recorded selfie video. I stared at it. And if I fail? She smiled. You won't. The vanity felt more like a battlefield now. My tools, brushes, sponges, eyeliners were my weapons. I applied foundation, nervous hands slowly turning practiced. Blush lightly, contour carefully.
Gloss shimmered.
Next, the outfit. I chose a soft floral top, tucked into high-waisted jeans. Modest.
Pretty.
Safe. Then the wig brushed and pinned. Finally, the video. I hit record. Hi, I'm Danielle, I said softly. And today, I'm feeling like myself. I didn't review the clip. I couldn't. I just handed the phone to Melinda. Her silence after watching it was the loudest praise I'd ever heard. Speech training. It started subtly. Melinda began correcting my tone when I answered the phone. Too flat. Too deep. Try again, Danielle. She had me read articles aloud, women's magazine advice columns, fiction narrated in first-person female voice. You need to believe the words, she said. Not just say them. We practiced at night, sometimes with her recording me and playing it back. I cringed at every syllable. Every slip back into the old voice felt like failure. But slowly, the pitch rose. Inflection softened. Rhythm changed. By week's end, I could say an entire sentence, "Hi, this is Danielle speaking," and not feel embarrassed. Then came the phone call. Melinda dialed a salon, handed me the phone. You'll book the appointment. In your new voice. My hand trembled as I took the receiver. Hello, the voice on the other end chirped. I swallowed. Hi, this is Danielle. I'd like to book a hair consultation, please. Not even a pause. Sure thing, Danielle. Let's find you a spot. After I hung up, Melinda handed me a small box. Inside, a necklace. Tiny silver letters. DANILLE. For when you're ready to wear it, she said. I closed the box but kept it beside my bed. It was a test. I knew it the second she handed me the lipstick. Apply it. In the car. Before we go inside. We were parked outside the grocery store. You said this was just a quick trip, I whispered, my hand trembling. She smiled. It is. But Danielle doesn't get to hide anymore. The lipstick was bold red. Nothing subtle. Nothing safe. I twisted the tube, staring at the creamy pigment. My reflection in the side mirror looked scared. Hollow. But my hand moved anyway. Muscle memory. Lip liner first. Then color. Carefully smoothed with a brush. Melinda studied me the whole time. And when I clicked the tube shut, she nodded once. Let's go. The automatic doors whooshed open. Fluorescent lights. A few elderly couples. A mother with a child. No one looked. No one screamed. No one knew. I walked beside Melinda, heels clicking softly, a basket in one hand, purse on my shoulder. Halfway through the trip, I looked up and saw myself reflected in the freezer door. The red lips made me look older, bolder, less afraid. And for a second, just when I smiled. Melinda's closet was off limits. Always had been. But one evening, she led me inside. Pick something. Anything. Wear it for dinner. I hesitated at the doorway. Her wardrobe was a gallery: silk blouses, pencil skirts, lace bras, leather heels, handbags perched like museum pieces. I don't know what fits, I said. You'll try. That's part of the point. I stepped in, ran my hands along soft sleeves, lifted one black bodycon dress, feeling the stretch of the fabric. And then I saw it, a deep burgundy wrap dress with gold threading. Elegant. Quietly powerful. I held it up. Melinda smiled. Excellent choice. Back in my room, I slipped it on. It hugged my figure perfectly. The breast forms fit snugly beneath. The waist cincher held firm. I studied my reflection. I didn't look like her. I looked like me, but elevated, refined. Sharp. Dinner was a blur. She asked nothing. Just watched. At the end, she placed a hand on mine. You're learning to choose for yourself. And I realized I hadn't looked for her approval when picking the dress. I'd looked for mine. It was careless. Stupid even. I left my phone on the kitchen counter. Unlocked. Notifications popping up, journal entries, voice training notes, even a selfie or two. And, of course, Emma texted. Melinda saw it first. She didn't open it, but she did call me in. I saw your phone, she said simply. My stomach dropped. Did you?
No.
But I don't have to. You're documenting everything now, Danielle. In your voice. In your handwriting. In your face. You're past the point of secrets. I nodded, ashamed. But something burned in my chest. What if I want to tell Emma? I asked. Really tell her? She studied me, calm as ever. Then you must do it as Danielle. Not Daniel in a wig. You either stand in your truth, or you shrink back into the shadows. My throat felt dry. And if she hates me, she might. But she'd be hating someone who finally found the courage to exist. It was raining the night she returned. Thunder echoed. Wind howled. I opened the door in slippers and a knit cardigan over my nightdress. Hair curled. No makeup.
Raw. Honest.
She stood there drenched. No umbrella. No words. Just searching eyes. Dan, she asked, voice breaking. I stepped aside. Danielle. She blinked. I need to talk, she whispered. We sat in the living room, rain tapping on the windows like a metronome of dread. She stared at my hands, now with clear-coated nails. Is this real? Yes, I said softly. For how long? A while. Why? I swallowed. I think because I needed permission to become this. And now I don't want to stop. Tears brimmed in her eyes. But what about us? I still love you, I said. But I'm not going back. Then she stood, stepped close, touched the edge of my sleeve. Then show me who you are, Danielle. Emma's eyes glistened as she stood in my living room, surrounded by all the pieces of the person I was becoming. I could feel her searching for the old me, the Danielle she once knew in the soft curves of Danielle's silhouette. Prove to me you're serious, she said quietly. No makeup. No wigs. Just you. My heart hammered in my chest. I nodded, peeling off the wig slowly, feeling the lightness vanish. Without foundation or gloss, my face looked raw and exposed. She studied me, biting her lip. Then she smiled, small but genuine. You're braver than I thought. I exhaled, relief and fear tangled inside me. Now, can you live this, Danielle? Can you stand tall without the masks? A sharp knock shattered the quiet evening. I wasn't expecting anyone. Melinda and I exchanged a glance. I opened the door cautiously. A man stood there, tall and sharp-eyed, holding an envelope. I'm looking for Daniel, he said, voice rough but polite. I swallowed, sensing danger. This is Daniel's address, he added, handing me the letter. I took it, hands trembling. Melinda stepped beside me, calm but alert. Inside, the letter bore a single message. We know. My heart skipped a beat. Who knew? And what did they want? That night, I stood alone in my room, gazing into the full-length mirror. The dress hugged me perfectly, but my reflection felt like a stranger. I touched my cheek lightly. Suddenly, the wig slipped. A lock of hair fell over my eyes. I panicked, reaching up to fix it, but stopped. For the first time, I didn't want to hide. I peeled off the wig completely. I met my bare face in the glass. The two of us, Daniel and Danielle, blurred into one. The phone buzzed on my nightstand. A message from Emma. We need to talk. Now. My breath caught. I didn't know what the next step would be, but I knew I couldn't go back. Emma's voice was steady but sharp when she arrived at the door the next day. We need boundaries, she said. I love you, but this, Danielle, it's a lot to accept. I felt my throat tighten. I'm still me, just more honest. She looked away, struggling. I need time, but I can't keep pretending nothing's changed. She handed me a small note. This is my limit. I unfolded it. A list of conditions: no cross-dressing in public, no hiding the truth, couples counseling. Her eyes met mine. Choose. Me or this. That night, Melinda paced the room, frustration crackling in the air. Emma's ultimatum is dangerous, she warned. She could force you back or worse, expose you. I swallowed my fear. What do I do? She stared at me, fierce. You have to own Danielle completely. No half measures. Or you'll lose everything. Her words hit like a thunderclap. I wasn't just fighting for love, I was fighting for my very identity. A clandestine rendezvous at a quiet cafe. I met a woman named Claire, a crossdresser who had been through it all. She listened patiently as I spilled my story. Your stepmom's plan is extreme, Claire said gently. But it works because it forces transformation. She smiled sadly. The real challenge isn't the clothes, it's finding yourself when everything feels broken. I nodded, feeling a spark of hope for the first time in weeks. Late at night, the doorbell rang sharply. Melinda's eyes darkened as she opened the door. Standing there was a man in a sharp suit, holding an official-looking badge. I'm Detective Harris, he said, voice low. We've had reports about Danielle Freeman's unusual activities. We need to ask some questions. My heart froze. Could my secret survive an investigation? Melinda stepped in front of me, shielding silently. In the dim light of the living room, Emma and I faced each other. No makeup, no disguises, just two people raw with emotion. I'm scared, I whispered. Of losing you, of losing myself. She reached out, holding my hands. Then show me who Danielle really is. Tears fell as we promised to fight for us whatever came next. Melinda surprised me with an invitation. A masquerade ball, she said. A test of courage and disguise. Dressed in an elegant gown, mask in place, I stepped into the dazzling ballroom. Eyes watched. Whispers circled. I danced, my heart pounding a blend of fear and exhilaration. This night could change everything. Back home after the ball, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Emma's eyes held questions she couldn't voice. She'd seen something at the ball, a whispered conversation, a glance that didn't belong. I could feel her pulling away, even as I tried to bridge the distance. Melinda's warnings echoed in my mind. One misstep, and the truth shatters everything. One morning, I found the front door ajar. Inside, my private things were rifled through, makeup scattered, dresses torn, a threatening note left behind. Stop or else. Fear gripped me tighter than ever. Was this the price of living as Danielle? Or was someone trying to protect me in their own twisted way? Emma sat me down in the dim living room. I'm scared for you, she said, voice trembling. Her fears weren't about love, but about the world's harsh judgment. I want to support you, she whispered, but I don't know if I can handle what comes next. Tears mingled as we faced the impossible choice. Fight together or lose everything. Pressure mounted. Emma's doubts. Melinda's demands. My own fears tangled into a storm. One night, alone in the dark, I broke down. The weight of living two lives crushing me. But then, a quiet strength rose from within. I wasn't just surviving, I was fighting. Unexpected help came from an unlikely source, Claire, the woman I met before. She showed me how to navigate danger with courage and subtlety. Your secret is your power, she said. Use it wisely. Melinda surprised me with a delicate locket, a symbol of trust and transformation. Wear this, she said softly. When you feel lost, it will remind you who you truly are. The locket became my talisman in the darkest hours. Emma and I reached a breaking point. Words spilled like fire, anger, fear, love tangled in every sentence. She demanded honesty. I demanded acceptance. The room pulsed with tension. Would this be the end? Or a new beginning? Detective Harris returned, more insistent. Neighbors whispered. Rumors spread. Melinda's calm cracked as the walls closed in. We had to decide, hide or fight. At a community event, a photo surfaced. Me, Danielle, unmistakable, in full dress and makeup. Emma saw it first. Shock, betrayal, confusion flickered across her face. The secret was out. Emma confronted me with the photo in her hand, eyes filled with a storm of emotions. Why didn't you tell me? She demanded. I reached for her, trembling. I was scared of losing you. She hesitated, then whispered, I need time to understand. Melinda laid out a bold plan to face the community head-on. Let them see the real you, she said firmly. We'll turn fear into strength. It was risky, but the only way forward. Under the spotlight at a local event, I stood tall as Danielle. Whispers turned to stares. Emma was by my side, uncertain but present. In that moment, I realized transformation wasn't just about clothes, it was about courage. The aftermath of the public reveal was a storm. Friends avoided me. Whispers grew louder. Emma struggled to stand by me. I felt isolated, yet oddly free. Late one night, Emma and I had the hardest conversation yet. "I don't know if I can do this," she said, voice breaking. We both faced the possibility of losing each other. Just as everything seemed to crumble, a message arrived. From Claire, "Keep fighting. You're stronger than you think." I held on to that hope like a lifeline. The dress hung in my closet untouched. It symbolized everything I had become and everything I feared losing. That night, I put it on one last time, ready to face whatever came next. Emma arrived, eyes steady. "We either face this together," she said, "or we walk away." Her words echoed in the quiet room. I reached for her hand, unsure if this was an ending or a new beginning. A shadow lurked outside the window. A whispered phone call. An unknown name. The danger wasn't over. And someone was coming for us, whether we were ready or not. Just as the tension seemed to ease, the front door slammed open. Emma's eyes widened. "Daniel," came a voice, cold, familiar, and unwelcome. Standing there was my father's old business partner, a man whose presence threatened everything I had tried to hide. The man stepped inside, revealing a secret he'd been holding, one that could unravel my life. Emma's face drained of color. I struggled to keep calm, but my heart raced. Was this the end of Danielle? Or the start of something darker? The room fell silent. Eyes locked. The past and present collided in a moment, suspended in time. And then the screen fades to black. What happens next? Only you can decide. What do you think will happen next? Will Emma accept Danielle fully, or will their relationship fall apart? Who is the mysterious man from Danielle's past, and what secret does he hold? Should Daniel keep fighting for his true self, or is it time to hide again? Drop your predictions, theories, and questions in the comments below. Your thoughts might be featured in the next episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow this suspenseful journey all the way to the end. Thank you for watching and being part of the story.